Are you ready to go on an abundaventure with me? I am kicking off a brand new series. This is the first episode, and I'm committing to doing 52 of them for the next 12 months, all about abundance. I'm going to go deep and I'm going to share over the next 52 episodes or 52 weeks experiences that I have, that I encounter, perspective shifts that I get, lessons I learn, all about being abundant, living from a state of being abundant. And so I'm really excited about this abundaventure, and I want to take as many people on it so they can also experience it and have similar shifts in their lives and light up the world, because that's what we're going to do. When we live from a place of abundance, we light up the world around us. So I've done a few things. I am doing a fun contest. So if you're not involved in the contest, I would love for you to participate. So if you're listening to this before April 12th, which is when the contest, you can't enter after the 12th. So get in before the 12th. But I'm looking for abundance activators to help me spread the word about this new series, because the more people that listen, the more abundance we'll have in the world. I'm also going to share a little story in this episode. So hang on. I'm just going to do a little few of these announcements first. I also created an abundance activation guide, and I put together 7 simple lessons that will move you into more of a state of abundance. And they're lessons that they're intended for you to do for 7 days in a row, but you can continue to do them to continue to bring that abundance in your world. So I had really a fun time putting that together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to gift you, if you join as an abundance activator and enter the contest, you'll get an early copy of that. It's not going to be available to the general public until a bit later. So that is one thing. The contest, to join the contest, and all you have to do is just, and I have a tutorial, because I know a lot of us are technically challenged, but I'll have a tutorial for you that shows you the simple steps that you need to take. But you'll get entered into prize drawings that I have, like 6 amazing prizes, one of which is an iPad, another of which is a Kindle. So great prizes, all for just telling people about this episode, and or not this episode, but the series. So for telling people about this series, and I'm super excited I have like over 50 people who are joining me so far. Also, next week, I'm going to be sharing a new quiz. And if some of you may have taken my quiz, I have a quiz out there right now. But this is a brand new one, and you can find out your abundance persona. So I had a lot of fun putting that quiz together, and that'll come out on the 10th. I'm going to be announcing that and talking about the personas on my next episode that airs. So, and abundance is essentially, just to dumb it down, looking for the good in everything, looking for the good that exists all around you. And one of the reasons that I you wonder how things come up in your brain, like when it started, because this has been something that I've been working on, planning with my team for probably about 6 weeks, of like, we want to do this new series, and this is what's going to be in the new series, and kind of coming up with the ideas and getting everything solid around it, and the contest and the guide. But it was just the shift that I realized, and it might have even started in January, because in January, I was thinking about the word I wanted for the year and things that I could do better in my life. And one thing that I realized is that I do daily gratitude. It's just like something I do every morning, write down the 3 things that I'm grateful for. But it's become more of this, like, just doing action, like, oh, got to check that off the list. I did my gratitude this morning. And when I wasn't writing it down, it was like I wasn't thinking about what I'm grateful for. It was just kind of like that, those 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the morning. And one thing that I always wanted to do and thought about a lot in the abundance realm is that I wanted to give something to somebody on the side of the road. And where that started from was there was a time when I looked at people who were begging on the side of the road and judged them. And I was like, you should be working. Why are you, well, you shouldn't be wanting a handout. So I had all these beliefs that likely weren't true. I don't know that person. I don't know their backstory. They could have tried to find jobs and just had hit roadblocks, and this was their last resort. But I was here sitting in my fancy car looking at these people, you know, and they might have had a cigarette in their hand, and they had the stereotypical of what in my mind, in my world, and my perception was like a bum who was like trying to steal people's money. So just that's not an abundant mindset. I am not looking for the good. I'm not thinking about the good. I'm not thinking about the limitless possibilities for this human being who's probably encountered some difficulties and has a lot of limiting beliefs, honestly. So I was coming at it from a very judgmental point of view and not from a just kind of a giving and a believing in we are equal, believing we come from the same source. I wasn't coming from that kind of a mindset. So I had this idea. This came to me when I started to realize, oh, I mean, I have a lot of judgment here. I need to fix that. And then I started realizing what one thing I can do that I'll like to do, because I just don't want to give somebody cash and then have them go spend it on the wrong things. But again, that's putting judgment around, like, I know what they're going to spend it on, alcohol or drugs. I don't really know what they're going to spend it on. I should be free to give them cash and bless it and bless it. Here you go. That's abundance, right? But one thing that I thought of wanting to do was, okay, I'm going to buy a grocery store gift card, and I am going to give a grocery store gift card to somebody who is asking for money on the side of the road. And we have them here where I live. They park, there's certain spots in our city, and they stand there with signs. So it's a very common sight that we see. So, and I've never, ever given anybody anything. So I was thinking about this for a lot. I mean, I was probably thinking about it for 6 months. And so I finally one day was like, okay. And it was around the holiday time. I think it was around the holidays. And I thought, I'm going to get the grocery store card and I'm going to give it. And as I pulled into the grocery store, I saw a man, and he had his wife and his children with him. And he was asking for money on the side of the road. And I thought that I want to get a grocery card for that family. So I got a grocery store card for $25. You know, $25, I can afford $25. And so I remember I was all caught up in it, and I had these visions of what it was going to be like and how thankful this person was going to be. And so I pulled up, and there was a car in front of me who had gotten this person some groceries. So he was like pulling I remember seeing toilet paper coming out of the back, water, like a big flat of water, six packs of bottled water. And so I remember him pulling that out of the back seat of the car. So I was kind of like standing in line waiting to give him his gift card. And so it was my turn, and I pulled up, and I rolled down my window because it was cold. So I rolled down my window on my passenger side because he was on that side. And I handed him the grocery gift card. And his response was not one that I had envisioned in my dream. His response was, how much? You know, it was just like, it was almost this kind of like greedy, like, and I was like, oh, my thinking of like the like judgment person, it's kind of like what I thought would happen. And it was so funny because like I have this internal voice, right, saying, oh, you know, don't worry about that. That's just testing you, right? So I said it's $25. And then I started thinking, oh my God, is it not enough? What does he think? What does he think? Does he think you're a cheapskate? Or does he think, oh, great, it's $25? but I don't know. I didn't ask any questions. I handed him the gift card and I drove away. And that interaction bothered me because I had expectations around it. And so the more I thought about it, the more I thought, being abundant is letting go of expectations. You don't have any strings attached or expectations around giving or just being grateful for what you have and being free to be willing to gift something. I could stop and give a nice card, a nice note, a nice quote to somebody. That would be as good. Maybe they wouldn't think it was as good as a $25 gift card, but it could, a great quote or a great note could really shift somebody's life. That somebody took the time to take a note and it resonated with them. You don't know how words can change somebody's life. So it doesn't have to be like a monetary thing of gifting. It could just be just giving something that comes from your heart. And so what was interesting about this whole experience is this was the seed that germinated me wanting to bring more abundance mindset and just living from that state versus just doing things, just doing the actions, but really contemplating on it, like trying new things, trying new experiences that fall into the abundance category, and then sharing them. Like, what did I learn from that? What did I think about that? Because in this moment, what I learned from that is people are all going to react differently. And just because he asked how much doesn't mean he was like sad or mad or anything about what I gave him. I already had a prediction. I had a prediction and expectation of what his reaction was going to be. And that was going to be, oh my God, thank you. You're so wonderful. And you should not be, that's not abundance. When you're always thinking about how somebody's going to react to what you do for them, that is not being abundant. That's like, oh, I'll do this because of what I get out of it. And that is not. I learned a lot from that. And I thought, this is a test, because I think the universe tests us. I finally did that thing that I was thinking about doing. And that was the lesson I needed. And the lesson I needed was, oh my gosh, get rid of the attachment, start operating in more of a state of being abundant, learn more about what that means, start applying it and getting lessons from it and sharing it with other people. And that's what came out of it. And that is why I decided to do the series, because I thought, I'm happy to be the guinea pig and to share my experiences. And if it brings that more of a different perspective to you, then yay, I've accomplished what I set out to do. And that's to bring more abundance thinking to the world. So yeah, next week, that's my little story, my first story of abundance and what it taught me. And maybe not fully being abundant, but my first lesson of abundance. And so I am going to make these episodes. They're not going to be really long. They'll probably be shorter episodes, but they're going to be out on Saturday, every Saturday. And so look for my quiz next week. And then I'm going to be sharing a compilation of what abundance means from some of my previous guests, which I'm really excited about doing as well. And the stories are going to start coming. So stay tuned. And thank you so much for joining me. And if you are sharing and spreading news about this series, then I appreciate you so much. And I am so grateful for you. And I look forward to, hearing how my guide is helping you. And again, notyouraveragegrandma.com/activate to become an abundance activator and help me spread the word. And if you've missed out and it's past April 12th, then you can get the guide by going through the quiz. So look in the show notes for that link, and thanks so much. So go out into the world and be aware of the good in everything. Start paying attention to all that is good in the world and all that is good in your world. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraveragegrandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at Not Your Average Grandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own Not Your Average life.